In April 2026, exactly 249 homes sold in Vaughan. That's the same number as April of 2025, but 11% fewer listings came to market compared to this time last year. Same demand, less supply, and prices that are still down almost 10% year over year. So what does this actually mean for you, whether you're buying or selling in Vaughan right now? Well, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a very clear picture. Hello, my name is Ali. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a real estate broker here in the city of Vaughan, and every year I help families buy, sell, and move up in this market. I track the trends, I watch what buyers and sellers are actually doing, and I bring that to you as straight and honest advice in these videos. If you find it useful, please like and subscribe, and if you know anybody else that might benefit from it, please share this video with them. And if you're ready to make a move, book a quick 15-minute call with me directly. It's the first link down in the description. This is the April 2026 Vaughan market update. I'm going to walk you through new listings, sales volume, and prices, and show you what the relationship between those three numbers is actually telling us about where this market is heading. Before we get into Vaughan specifically, let's put all of this into context. Across the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, TRREB, which covers the GTA as a whole, as well as some smaller suburbs in the outskirts, sales were down 7% year over year in April. New listings were down 9.3% year over year, and the average price across the GTA is down 4.9% year over year. So the broader pattern across the GTA is this: fewer listings coming to market, sales holding or growing in some areas, and prices still under pressure but correcting more slowly than they were. Now let's take a look at Vaughan specific, because the story here is more nuanced than the GTA headline numbers suggest. And here's what makes Vaughan's April data particularly interesting. When you look at the relationship between new listings and sales across the different property types, you start to see that this is not one market. This is four very different markets sitting inside the same city. And the story those numbers are telling is completely different depending on which property type you own or want to buy. Let's go through each one. Starting at the top level, all property types combined. In April 2026, there's 830 new listings that came to market in Vaughan. That's up nearly 12% from March. More sellers are listing as we move into the spring market, which is fairly typical. But compared to April of last year, new listings are actually down 11%. A year ago, 933 properties came to market in that same month. This year, only 830. That's 103 fewer listings hitting the market compared to this same time last year. Now pair that with the sales volume of 249 homes sold April 2026. That's exactly the same number as April of 2025. So here's the dynamic. The same number of buyers are purchasing, but they have fewer properties to choose from than they did a year ago. Less supply, same demand, and yet the average price is still down almost 10% year over year at $1,185,000. That's the average price. Month over month, it did nudge up about 2% from March. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the market is still correcting on a year over year basis, but the pace of correction is slowing. When supply tightens and demand holds, prices don't fall forever. We're not at the bottom yet though, but the conditions that typically precede stabilization are starting to appear. Now, let's break this down by property type, because the overall numbers are masking some very significant differences that are happening beneath the surface. And where you sit in this market determines everything about what these numbers actually mean to you. So let's start off with detached homes, and this is the most important story in the April data for families thinking about upsizing their homes. 393 new detached listings came to market in April. That's up 25% from March. That's a huge jump as sellers are coming up for the spring market. But compared to April of last year, well, it's down approximately 2%, which is slightly less supply than a year ago. Now let's take a look at what sales did. 121 detached homes sold in April. That's up approximately 10% from March and up 8% compared to April of last year. So while new listings are slightly lower than last year, sales have made a meaningful increase. There's more buyers absorbing slightly less supply. Well, the average detached price in April came in at $1,560,000 on average. That's down approximately 15% year over year, the largest correction we've seen in any property type in Vaughan. But here's what that combination is telling you. Detached prices have corrected significantly and buyers have noticed. We're seeing more of them take advantage of this opportunity and moving into detached home. Listings are being absorbed faster. Let's move on to the semi-detached market. I want to be upfront about something before I give you the numbers. There were only 17 semi-detached transactions in the city of Vaughan in the month of April. That small sample size produces large percentage swings that can be quite misleading. So take these as directional signals, but not definitive conclusions. 33 new semi-detached properties came to market in April. That's up approximately 7% from March, but down 39% compared to April of last year. And sales, well, like I said, there were 17 transactions. That is approximately 42% from March's 12 sales. So 5 more sales creates a massive percentage increase. So in the semi-detached segment, supply has dropped dramatically year over year, while sales have picked up month over month. The average price was $1,026,000, down approximately 12% year over year. But with this supply constraint relative to the buyers who are active, the semi-detached segment in Vaughan bears watching closely over the next few months. Moving on to townhouses, this is the quiet, bright spot in April's data. There's 119 new townhome listings that came to market. That's up approximately 7% from March and up another 21% compared to April of last year. There's more supply coming to market than a year ago, and sales, well, there's 41 transactions. That's the same as March, and it's up approximately 8% compared to April of last year. So supply is up year over year, but so is demand. They're growing together. The average price was $1,055,000 in April. That's up approximately 6% from March. That's the strongest monthly price gain of any property type in the city of Vaughan. Still down 8% year over year, but the month over month move is quite meaningful. And I just want to point out that on average, we're seeing townhomes sell for more than semi-detached properties. So there's a real opportunity here to pick up a semi-detached home at a very significant discount and even less than townhome. And if you're a townhome dweller, or you own a condo and you're looking to make that move up, this is a very good opportunity for you. When supply and demand grow together and price is moving up, that's a segment finding its equilibrium. Townhomes in Vaughan are the most balanced story in this month's data. And now we get into the segment that's telling a completely different story from everything else. If you own a condo in Vaughan, these next numbers are the most important ones in this entire video for you. 226 new condo listings came to market in April. That's down slightly from March, but it's down 25% compared to April of last year. That's significantly fewer new condo listings than a year ago. You'd think that would be good news for condo sellers as there is less competition. But here's the problem. Sales volume dropped as well. 58 condos sold in April. That's down approximately 19% from March, and it's down 13% from April of last year. This is the core problem in Vaughan condo market right now, and it's showing up directly in price. The average condo price is $607,000. That's down nearly 8% year over year, but up slightly month over month. But that's a very small move against a meaningful annual decline. The relationship between supply and demand in the condo segment is not moving in a direction that supports price recovery in the near term. There's fewer buyers relative to the available supply, which means sellers are competing hard for a shrinking pool of purchasers, and that competition keeps downward pressure on price. So, after all of this, what does it actually mean for you? If you're a seller, your experience right now depends almost entirely on what you're selling. If you own a detached home or a townhouse, the supply and demand dynamics are working more in your favor than they were a year ago. With fewer listings relative to the buyers who are active means your competition is lighter, but price, and price is very important, it still needs to reflect where the market actually is, not where it was last year, the year before, or 2022. The sellers who are doing well right now are the ones who priced for today's reality and present their home exceptionally well. The ones struggling are the ones holding out for a number that the market hasn't supported in years. So pricing at the end of the day is king, or it just really does not present well. And if you own a condo, pricing strategy is everything, just like in all the other property types. Come in sharp, present the property well, and move with urgency. Waiting for conditions to improve before listing is a strategy that may cost you a lot more money than it saves you. Now, if you're a buyer, the overall picture is actually more favorable than the year-over-year price decline suggests. Less supply is coming to market than a year ago, but demand is holding. That combination doesn't last indefinitely in one direction. When supply keeps falling and demand stays constant, prices stabilize and eventually move. We're not there yet across all property types, but in detached homes and townhomes, the window where you have meaningful negotiating power and less competition may be shorter than it actually appears. But time will tell. And if you've been thinking about making a move from a townhouse or a semi to a larger detached home, well, that math right now is more favorable than it has been in many years. Detached prices have corrected 15% year over year. Townhouse prices are down another 8%. That gap between what you're selling and what you're buying, well, it has narrowed. You're selling slightly lower. Yes, I understand that. But you're buying into a segment that has corrected more than yours have. That spread is the opportunity, and it's one that may not look the same 12 months from now. If you're family in Vaughan and you want to understand specifically what April's numbers mean for your situation, whether you're thinking about selling, buying, or make that move to a larger property, book a quick 15-minute call with me. The link is down in the description. We'll look at your specific property type, your specific neighborhood, and whether the numbers actually make sense for you right now. As always, no pressure, no pitch, just a straight conversation about your situation. That's the April 2025 Vaughan market update. The headline is this: same number of buyers as last year, fewer listings than last year, and prices still down year over year, but the pace of that decline is slowing. Share this with another family you know who's been trying to make sense of what's happening in Vaughan right now. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm Ali, and I help Vaughan families make the right move.